SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Rebel Rags, celebrating 20 years of bringing the best Ole Miss gear to fans everywhere. Visit the store on Jackson Avenue in Oxford or order online at rebelrags.net. That's rebelrags.net. Tell them, Molly.
Rebel Rags. Anything, everything, Ole Miss.
And now. Sports.
Get ready, sports fans. It's time for Chasing Foul Balls on SuperTalk Pike County 93.5 and streaming worldwide on the SuperTalk Mississippi app and on your Amazon Alexa devices. Chasing Foul Balls, your weekly source for all the sports news and interviews important to Southwest Mississippi. Chasing Foul Balls is presented by Rainbow Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Macomb and by First Bank. And now, here's your host, Robbie Hamilton.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Friday edition of Chasing Foul Balls right here on SuperTalk Pike County 93.5. Glad to have you with us on this Friday morning. A couple of things before we get to business. If you know somebody that's not in the radio circle of 93.5, let them know they can listen to the show live by going to SuperTalk Pike County and clicking on Listen Live. Or if you want to listen to it any time of the day, after 1 o'clock or so every Friday, we have the show in its entirety posted on our Facebook page, so you can go there. And we're working with our Facebook, our YouTube and help me out, podcast app. So we hope to have that up and running in the next week or so for you. So moving on, guys, moving on. Hey, football is here, whether we want to say it is or not. High schools practicing, community colleges practicing, Saints play their first preseason game on Sunday. Then you got all the polls are coming out, and it's just time to play football. Today we'll have some folks in who can talk to us about football. Neil Price, the voice of the Mississippi State Bulldogs, will be with us, and Bob Ghetti, host of the Eagle Hour right here on SuperTalk. He will be with us to talk Southern Miss football. And in the studio with us again today, Little Daddy, Wes, how are you?
Doing great, Robbie. Good to be here.
I tell you what, you get to be a regular with us.
I'm telling you, y'all bringing me down now.
He's always been a regular. He just wasn't on the air sometimes.
Yeah, well, you know, he's filling in for the, how am I going to put this, old fart. And he's gone quite a few times, so, you know, it's that way. Also, Richard, we with us more. Richard, hey, how are you, TP?
Just fine, Robbie. Always glad to be here.
Let's go to work. As we talked about, college football is ready to go. The coaches college top 25 out. And we'll take a look at it and see what y'all got to say about it. Kind of a mix and match group, if you ask me, when you look at that. Texas is 1, Ohio State 2, Penn State 3, Georgia 4, Notre Dame at 5, LSU at 9, and Ole Miss at 15. Top 5, guys. Y'all agreeable with that, Wes?
Well, I guess so. My first reaction to the whole thing is I feel like LSU was low. I don't see a whole lot of weaknesses on that team, guys, and they've got arguably the best QB in the country. I think 9 is a low bar for them, in my opinion.
Robbie, I think I agree with Wes on that assessment. I think some of this is – I think Texas is number 1 because of one person and in one position. I mean,
you don't think that, do you?
They go put and Ohio State is Ohio State, so you ain't going to have them much further than 2 or 3. And then the rest of them, I can make an argument today that those will be the 4 or 5 teams that will be in the last running for the playoff because they're the biggest schools, they pay the most money, and they get the best players. You know, as I say all the time in my world, this isn't rocket science.
As I say, if the people getting on my bus is better than the people getting on your bus, I'm going to beat you most of the time, and that's
Amen.
the way it works out. Do you think the 1 and 2 was a setup for the first game of the year, Texas and Ohio State?
Yes.
No, Robbie, no, but they wouldn't do that now. Come on.
Well, we're talking sports writers. You know, would they arrange something like this?
They wouldn't shake something out like that just to make good TV now, would they?
Yes, they would. They know what walks and what talks.
We are so skeptic on this radio show, to say the least, about those folks. If you had the top three on the field, the rest of the teams, who you taking for the national championship? One of the top three, which would be what? Texas, Ohio State, and Penn State. Or are you taking the rest of the field?
Oh, Robbie. I'm going to have to say the field, because 1 and 2 got new guys at quarterback. And we know what Archer's pedigree is, but he hadn't done it yet. So if you're making me choose, I'm taking the field.
Top three of the field, Richard?
I think my chances are better off with if I was a betting man, I'd bet the field. Because as Wes just said, we know at Ohio State, even though they lost all those players, they just replaced them with guys that we just don't know their names yet, okay? Texas is probably as loaded as ours, and they have a new quarterback, but as Wes said, he's new in this league. But I still think there's somebody out there, whether it's an LSU or a Clemson or somebody that we're not even talking about right now. Who would have thought of Arizona State last year would have been in the playoffs? Okay? You'd have lost money if you bet that they wouldn't be. Well, they did. So I'm going to take the field.
HBCU top 10 is out. Jackson State, number 1. Southern of Baton Rouge, 3. Alabama State, 5. Alcorn comes in at 8. Now, what I always like is when you hear that poll, and then you see the SWAC poll. Jackson State is 1 in the East. Alcorn is 2 in the West. Now, how far apart are they? You know, rocks thrown from each other. One's in the East Division, the other's in the West Division. You think that, again, as we talk, you think that's stuff for money?
Well, if the East and the West are going to play each other, I don't think the SWAC would have any bad thoughts about saying, let's have Jackson State and Alcorn have a chance to play on opposite sides, because if they're on the same side, they're going to knock one of the other out. Look,
and if it's good TV, well, that's just convenient for us.
Exactly.
There we go. Skeptical again, as always, in this group. With the merger of, the so-called merger of NFL and ESPN joining, do y'all think there will be a college red zone coming out?
That's a good question, Robbie. I haven't thought of that. They'll certainly have the setup to pull it off.
Yep. They'll have the means to pull it off.
I think they will. As popular as the NFL red zone is with everybody, I mean, you don't have to watch any one specific game. I love the MLB where they've got 4 up there so I can pay attention and flip back and forth. And I think it'll be, yes, I think that was the reason that this all started is to, because, the NFL makes money. And they see where college sports is, where college football is especially. Well, they might as well sell and get in a little bit on that dime being made. And so I think it will be. I think that was their whole intention of getting it anyway.
You don't think their whole intention was just they want to run the world?
Well, probably not too far down the road.
The NFL has not done anything that they didn't make 3 boatloads of money off of. And they, one of the reasons was this. Let's go to that NFL and ESPN merger. One of the reasons they like this is they get the NFL Network. Well, what did the NFL Network get to go to ESPN? And that's 3 more NFL games. So that's just even more money in their pockets there. What do you think about the merger? Are you for it, against it? Do you think it'll happen? You don't have to jump through a bunch of hurdles to make it.
I guess I'm okay with it. I really don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. I figure it was probably inevitable at some point. So I can live with it. I don't see any huge downside to it.
I don't either. I think I'm like you. I think it was inevitable. As big as ESPN is and where they spread their markets out to, and the NFL's like, hey, we're the biggest show in sports TV. So we might as well, if we can spread it to a little few more people, as you said, that just makes us more money.
You don't think the NFL merging with ESPN, the leader in sports, has anything to do with how they cover, do you?
Well, I mean,
you're saying some of those people on ESPN that get on there and berate and fuss about the NFL might have to Push it up a little
Well, what
bit.
about ESPN covering the NFL, but yet starting a sports betting service under the same flag? Now, I mean,
This stuff, it just amazes me. Saints, Chargers, Sunday. Wes, you the big Saints guy. You'll be sitting at the TV Sunday afternoon?
yeah, I'll be watching it. We'll see how bad we're going to be.
Richard, I have nothing to say to that one.
I mean, that's the
Very
truth.
Very seldom do I get caught speechless. But
That's true. I'm kind of like Wes. The main thing is, and we know what position it starts at, folks. And from what I keep up with, and Wes, you might do more than me, there's no clear cut. You know, if you look at day-to-day stats, well, one guy's better today, one guy had an off day. And what our favorite comment last week was pajamas and slippers, you know.
Yeah.
And here we go. So I'm anxious to see that because it all starts there. And it might not be totally live bullets, but it's going to be pretty close, especially for a rookie in this league.
Well, it's going to be a chance to start seeing the quarterbacks play
Right.
against somebody other than your old folks. So that'll be worth watching just to see what they look like. Well, Saints on Sunday afternoon, we'll get started talking college football. Our first up is Mississippi State, and their play-by-play voice, Neil Price. We'll talk to Neil right after this. Chasing Foul Balls, the Friday edition, right here on SuperTalk Pike County, 93.5. Glad to be with you on this Friday morning. On the phone, the voice of the Mississippi State Bulldogs, Neil Price. How are you, Neil?
Doing great, guys. Good to be with you this morning.
Question number one. The university whose 50-yard line to the creamery is the closest.
Mississippi State.
Oh, boy. How you figured that one out?
Well, I mean, you can look from the top row of the football stadium, and you can see them over there churning it pretty good. So, I'd be hard-pressed to imagine there's one closer than that.
1,081 feet from the 50-yard line to the creamery at Mississippi State. Now, I tell you, the top two things at Mississippi State is what? Football and ice cream?
Well, at least the ice cream. I don't know that everybody would, yeah. We hope football eventually, but at least the ice cream, yes. You know, I saw the other day, too, they're putting out two new flavors, and I can't remember both of them, but I think one of them is sweet potato of some kind, and I'd be curious to try that. I'm a Muscadine Ripple guy, but I'd be curious to see if that could supplant that.
Well, we got to get some sweet potato ice cream sent to us, or either we'll send Richard up there to get it, one of the two.
I tried that one time.
Yeah, it didn't get. It's amazing it never got back to us, Neil. You know, for some reason.
Well, you can't let it melt. That's the thing. You don't want it to go to waste. It's a long way back down there, so I can understand how that could be.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep, don't let it go to waste.
State goes to Hattiesburg, starts the season. Is this your first trip to Hattiesburg to broadcast?
For football, it will be. I've been there for basketball before a couple of times. And, I mean, I've been to the football stadium. I've seen the baseball field, all that. But it'll be the first time I've done a football game there.
Neil, this is Richard. Hey, good to have you back. And I guess I've been thinking about this, knowing, we were going to have you on, I know what mine is. I know what is yours and the people that you're around. What's our best expectation this year? Is it wins? Is it the ability to play? Do we look like a college team? How do you put all that together and say, this is what I would like to see at the end of the year? This is what we beat.
Well, I think the biggest thing, if you're a State fan, you want to see is improvement. Now, with the schedule that State has, you could see improvement, and the number of wins may not do more than double from a year ago. We hope it's better than that, but I mean, the truth is that State plays the second hardest schedule of any team in the SEC. So it's a big mountain to climb. I do think, based on what I've seen so far, there was a real effort in the transfer portal to go and find some people on defense that can help generate a pass rush. They look much more like an SEC team on both the offensive and defensive line with regard to size and physicality than they did last year. And I think they've tried to add some skill people, especially at wide receiver, that give them more speed and an ability to push the ball down the field and continue to pressure opposing defenses. Now, how does all that come together? That's the million-dollar question, because you've got so many new people who have never played on a team together that have to come together in a period of about 3.5 or 4 weeks before you play that first game, and it's easier said than done sometimes. So I think as camp continues to unfold, that's what we're looking for. Who steps up among these new people, who takes some of these starting jobs? What do those offensive and defensive line rotations look like? And can they all get on the same page with Jeff Lebby's offense to be able to make things happen?
Well, following up on that, in your opinion, and I'm sure you might not have been let in at some of the practices, but you're around the program every day as you make your preparation for. Who are some of those people that you've heard of, seen, that you think like, okay, nobody knows this guy right now, but by the third or fourth game of the season, we're going to be talking about whether he's a defensive end or a wide receiver or a running back. Who are those people? We know the quarterback, we know the situation there, but who are some of the other people that we might not know their names right now?
Well, I think in that wide receiver group, it may not be that people don't know their names, but they've never seen them play in a Mississippi State uniform before. I think Brennan Thompson and Anthony Evans immediately add speed at that wide receiver position. They're guys who are capable of making big plays. They'll be exciting to watch. I think that Clough Bothwell has had a lot of expectation placed on him based on what he did running the ball at South Alabama last year. And, I mean, here's a guy who averaged, 7.5 yards a carry and scored 13 rushing touchdowns. He's going to fit in somewhere with Devon Booth and Johnny Daniels at running back. So you've got a three-headed monster there if you keep everybody healthy. On defense, I think there are some guys on that front line who could really make a difference that they brought in from outside. Neve Sanders is one. I'm trying to remember all of them. It runs together after a while. Sorry. They've got some guys, though, definitely that they've put in there that can help generate sacks, pass rush, all the things that were missing a year ago. Think about this now. It's a team that only had 10 sacks a season ago. There were other players on other teams that had as many sacks in the season as State's defense had all last year. So that was a priority. And they've got to get some new guys in there who can do that. And I think they've been able to go out and get some of those. They've got a guy who came over from Coastal Carolina, great pass rusher. I think he can help them. I mentioned Neve Sanders, but one of his teammates at Northern Illinois, Rashawn Thomas, is another guy who I think they can plug in up front that's going to be able to help them do some of that too. Jalen Smith's a linebacker, but he's played SEC football at Tennessee, so you've got somebody that understands what it takes to be successful in this league. I think he could come over and help out too. And then you've got returning guys back there. I mean, you're asking for names you don't know, but everybody knows Isaac Smith. And I think Isaac's going to play a big role in being a leader on the defense and trying to make sure those guys are organized and in the right places and getting ready to go.
Neil, this is Wes Nunnery here. Last season was obviously rough, and there have been rumors circulating about the warmth of Jeff Lebby's seat, which is just wild in year two, but it is the world we live in these days. We know with the schedule they could be vastly improved and not showing the win-loss column. So I guess the uncomfortable question is, what is the feeling? How warm actually is Jeff Lebby's seat in Starkville?
I think in town or on campus, I don't think that he's got any pressure on him at all. I think they understand the situation that they asked him to step into a year ago. There were a lot of people that were upset that State only won 2 games last year. And that's understandable because people invest a lot of time and money to make their trip up, watch the games, and be a part of the program. But the reality is they didn't have the horses last year to be able to go out and be a competitive SEC team, especially against one of the nation's toughest schedules. So I think as long as Jeff Levy and his staff show improvement, they show that this team has taken a step forward against what is basically the same schedule, the same conference schedule that they played a year ago, that he's going to be fine. It would take something disastrous, I think, for there to be any significant amount of pressure or heat on him right now.
Neil, this is Richard once again. Getting away from the game a little bit, and I know you don't ever get away from it being the broadcast announcer for our sports, but from the last out that occurred in Tallahassee, what was Neil Price's summer kind of like, and at what point in time do you start kind of making preparations, starting to try to learn all these names and get the positions down right for preparing for that first broadcast?
Well, with football, it goes back into the spring. So even while baseball's going on, you're working a little bit on football because you've got a spring game. We knew there were going to be a lot of new people on this team, and not all of them were even here for the spring game. Some of those guys didn't get here until June. So you're learning those folks. Things slow down a little bit at the end of baseball. You get a break. You try to grab a vacation somewhere. And then about mid-July, it starts to ramp back up again. And one of the things that's been good for me is the opportunity to sit down with a good many of these guys and talk to them a little bit, get to see who they are, get to put names and faces together. We did that by right around the 1st of, I say 1st of August, that's not right. We did it the last week of July. And that was very helpful. And there's some really good stories on this team, too. There are. That's why you hope that all these guys pan out and they're successful, because there's some really interesting backstories that you can begin to unpack and tell as the season goes along if these guys do what we believe they can do based on their numbers. So I'm anxious to see all of it. I've been trying to brush up as much as I can, but to your point, you never really totally shut it off. You're always reading about it. In the SEC, football is something that's covered 365 days a year. So there's always something you can read. There's always something you can learn. Around here, baseball is something that's always covered, it seems like, 365 days a year. So there's always things you can learn about that. And I wish people would take to basketball a little bit more. I know there are some diehards like me who love it. I wish there were more of them who loved it. Because that's the one I feel like that people maybe don't know as much about or pay as much attention to. And if you see how hard those people work, you'd understand that they're not taking it any easier than anybody who's playing football or baseball or any other sport around here, because they want to go out and they want to win. And hopefully we've got a good year ahead in that too.
Final two questions, Neil. You were talking about it just then. How was your first year broadcasting Mississippi State baseball?
Well, it was strange. I remember walking in the first weekend against Manhattan, and it's the first time I'd done baseball in 8 years. And I walked in and I looked out the window, and that's exactly what I said. I said, well, this is strange. And, you know, I have to give Coach Polk and Jay Powell a lot of credit. They made my job easy as the year went along. They made me feel comfortable. The coaching staff was fantastic. Players were great. And no one looked at me as an outsider. And listen, it'd be easy to do that because Jim did it for 46 years. And he was Mississippi State baseball. So once I was able to do a couple weeks and kind of get into the routine, and then obviously when basketball wrapped up and I was just doing baseball and I wasn't bouncing back and forth between the two, it started to become a little more routine and I got back in rhythm. And by the end of the year, I hope I did a decent job. But I enjoyed the games. I didn't enjoy the rain delays. I didn't enjoy the doubleheaders all that much, and I didn't enjoy those the first time around at the other place either. But But once the game starts, there are a lot worse things that you could be doing. A lot worse.
Any ghost in that broadcast booth for baseball?
What's that? Any
ghost in that broadcast booth for baseball?
No, I don't think so. What was funny, there was, Jim's a wonderful guy. For people who don't know him. Yeah, for people who don't know him, he is one of the genuinely nice people I have ever met. And that goes back to when I first met him 20 years ago when I started at Kentucky. But he came up one day, and his seats are kind of down and to the right from our window. So he comes up one day, and I can't remember if I think it was a rain delay. We were slow getting started. And he walks in, and Jim's not a guy who, at least in my experience, he's not a guy who's a big talker. He just, but occasionally he will deliver a line that he'll get you in stitches. So he walks in, and the season's not going great at this point. This is before they hit the run at the end of the year. And Jay Powell and I are sitting in there killing time, and Jim just walks in with his arms folded, stands behind a little table and looks at both of us, and he says, "Well, you boys have sure messed this up." And, of course, we all just busted out laughing. Yeah, we all just busted out laughing, But he has been very supportive. He has been very encouraging. I appreciate that. But I've told people, and I told them going into the year, I thought it would be the hardest thing that I've ever done here because Jim made the football and basketball piece easier for me because, remember, he followed Jack Crystal. Now, he worked with Jack for a long time, but he was the logical choice to do that at that point, and he handled those 7 years of doing all three sports incredibly well. And I didn't have to be the guy that followed the legend, so to speak. But I didn't have that in baseball because Jim Ellis, as we said, is Mississippi State baseball. So I had to be right because if I wasn't, people were going to let me know about it in a hurry. And I tried to take it seriously. I tried to be prepared, tried to do everything I thought that he would do. And hopefully we hit the mark. And hopefully we'll continue to hit it moving forward. But it is really, it's special to be a part of it. It is, because you think of the people who have been a part of that program. I mean, I'm down there early in the year, and I'm just sitting in the dugout watching batting practice, and there's this big, tall guy standing down there. And I said, man, he looks familiar. And Coach Polk sitting beside of me, and I said, tapped him on the shoulder, and I said, hey, the guy who's up there with his family, the cage, I said, does he play for you? Yeah, he played for me. His name's Will Clark. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, but it's, you never know what's going to happen when you go over there. You never know who you're going to see. It's kind of cool in that way.
Thanks for joining us this morning, Neil. We appreciate your time, and we'll be back with you when the season gets started so we can talk a little bit more of Mississippi State football.
All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. We'll be back with Bob Ghetti and Southern Miss right after this.
Sports. And now sports.
You're listening to Chasing Foul Balls on SuperTalk Pike County 93.5 and streaming everywhere on the SuperTalk Mississippi app. Chasing Foul Balls is presented by Rainbow Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Macomb and by First Bank, and brought to you by East Macomb Body Shop and Guy's Pharmacy. Now back to Chasing Foul Balls on SuperTalk Pike County 93.5.
Thanks to Neil Price, the voice of the Mississippi State Bulldogs, for joining us. Now to Hattiesburg, and the Eagle Hour host, Bob Ghetti, joins us to talk a little Southern Miss. How are you, Bob?
Well, good morning. I'm great. I really appreciate you guys having me on your show.
How did you get involved with the Eagle Hour?
Well, that was 10 years ago. I met with Steve Davenport, the owner of SuperTalk Mississippi back then, and at that time they had started a an afternoon show called Head to Head, which largely covered Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and the SEC. And I approached Steve about doing something similar for Southern Miss because we operate a lot of businesses here in the southern part of the state. He was agreeable, and we launched the show. It's actually 10 years ago. The show's been on the air now for 10 years on several SuperTalk stations and now online.
The Hope-O-Meter in Hattiesburg, how high is it for football?
Well, there is, of course, a lot of excitement this year for football and a lot of anticipation. At the same time, a lot of uncertainty. There's 65 new players on the football team this year. 21 came from Marshall. 10 Marshall coaches and staff members are here as well. So there's a lot of enthusiasm. The team is certainly much bigger and more physical looking than it has been for the past several years. But I guess the truth is no one really knows what to expect. And as I talk to my friends up at Mississippi State, which of course is the opening game, they seem to think the same thing. They don't really know what to expect. So here there's a lot of excitement, a lot of anticipation, and I think a lot of curiosity, if that answers your question.
Neil Price almost gave us the same answer from Mississippi State we just had on.
Bob, this is Wes Nunnery here. Thanks for being with us this morning. You kind of led right into my question. Coming out of media days and heading into the season, USM was picked 5th in the West and a projected win total of 4.5. Now, those of us who follow USM feel like there's more talent on this roster, top to bottom, than we've probably had in the past decade. I would say going back to Monken's final season. Now, I know they got to prove it on the field, but it feels like if this team was still in Huntington wearing green, they would be picked to win the league. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And the oddity about them being picked 5th is they have the preseason quarterback of the league, a really proven winner. This kid's a really good quarterback, and as you know, if you've got a good quarterback, you've got a chance to compete. But they brought 21 players from the conference championship team. All were contributors to the team that won the conference championship. So I guess it's a mystery why they were picked 5th. My only thought would be they're basing that on how poor the team was last year, but as we're talking about, this is virtually a new football team. So I really think Southern Miss may be the dark horse of the league this year because I just think with all these players coming in from Marshall and some of these other kids that they brought in from other universities, I take the over on 4.5 games being won this year.
Bob, this is Richard Hay. First off, let me say I'm the resident bulldog in this group. Sitting across from my good friend Wes and the Eagles. But I listen to Sports Talk pretty much every day, and I listen to the Eagle Hour. I just want to say how much you and Kelly, y'all do a great job. And I'm a sports fan first. I listen, and I garner some things, and it's always kind of find out where the other side's coming from. I asked Neil Price this question, and you're around the program. How will you put together the success of the Eagles this season? Is it better play? Wins and losses, we made a bowl. Where do you fit to say, okay, at the end of the year, we're going to have said be a successful team because we did this?
That's a great question, and that's a question that I've heard a lot of people ask, and I guess everyone has their own opinion. This would be mine. The Golden Eagle football team really needs to start winning games for the community, for the university, for everybody that follows it. It's been a pretty tough 4 or 5 years and really been pretty tough going back to what you said when Todd Monken was here. I think having a winning season, playing in a bowl game, would be considered a major success. I think 6-7 win season would be a massive improvement over last year, and I think everyone would consider that to be a huge success. I've heard people say that winning 6 games, going 6-6 would be considered a successful season. I think 6 to 7 wins this year and the opportunity to get back in the bowl picture certainly would have to be seen as a huge step forward. Now, will they do that? I don't know, but I think that would be considered a very successful first year for Huff if they could accomplish that.
Bob, talking about the Eagle Hour specifically, you're losing a good one. I believe today is his last day, in Andrew Abity taking a job with the Gainesville Sun, and who, in my opinion, does a fabulous job on the Eagle Hour and with Pine Belt Sports. Y'all may have already announced it, and if so, forgive me, I haven't seen it. But any plans for a replacement for Andrew?
Well, it'll be hard to replace Andrew, first of all. Let me say that. He's just been a tremendous contributor, and I agree with you. I think Andrew is a really, really good young sports writer, and we're really happy to see him get this promotion. We're talking to 3 or 4 different people right now, and actually I think we're going to try and make that decision next week. We're waiting on a response from one person that we've talked to. He's had some family issues and some personal things that may prevent him from joining us. We want to hear from him first, and then, as I say, we've got about 4 candidates in mind, and hopefully by next week we can announce someone to join us. One thing Kelly and I like to do, and Andrew's a great example of this, we really like to get people that are closely following the program but are of a younger generation than Kelly and I, because we think they bring a different perspective and, just a different way of looking at things that maybe our generation does. So that hopefully is the plan, but losing Andrew is tough for us, but a big gain for the newspaper that he's going to work for, no question.
Any plans for the big game as we approach for the Eagle Hour? I believe, if I remember right, Coach Fedora is going to be in town. Or what's Eagle Hour got planned for game week as we roll into it?
Well, actually, we're going to be on location 3 different days that week. We're going to be at MCS Home Center, which is a new home improvement store here, one afternoon, and then we're going to be doing a 2-hour show, to answer your question more directly, the Friday before the opening game at our local Buffalo Wild Wings, and we do have Larry Fedora that's going to come do the show with us. So we got confirmation yesterday that Jeremy McClain will be on the show. I think we'll probably have John Cox and Lee Roberts who do the play-by-play, and some other people that we'll be working on here in the next couple of weeks. But we're going to kick it off in style with a 2-hour show and try to build on the excitement that's all through the community about the new football team. And look, and let me be honest about the fact that Mississippi State's here to open the season. I really can't imagine a more dramatic or exciting opener. I don't believe we've had one here for a long time to this degree.
What's the crowd going to be?
I'm surprised that they haven't announced the sellout at this point. I think probably as you get closer, you may hear that announcement, but they're expecting really large crowds for the first 2 games. Obviously, Jackson State after MSU. I think very close to capacity, if not a sellout.
Final question. What's your favorite football movie?
Well, that's a great question. I have to say it was a Denzel Washington movie. What was it called?
Remember the Titans.
Yes, that would. I think that I'm a big Denzel Washington fan, and I thought that was a really good football movie.
Well, good luck in Hattiesburg coming up on the football season, and we'll be back in touch with you as we get this football season out of the way and talk a little bit more about the Golden Eagles.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Bob Ghetti with the Eagle Hour that you can hear right here on SuperTalk Pike County. We'll come back. We got more to talk about right after this. Chasing Foul Balls, Friday edition, right here on SuperTalk Pike County. If you're looking for a bank that feels like home, First Bank is here for you. 14 locations across southern Mississippi. You're your local bank for checking, savings, loans, and more. Whenever you're buying a home, starting a business, or you just need everyday banking made easy. First Bank, ready to help you. Stop by your nearest branch or visit firstbankms.com. First Bank, where customers and community matter most. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender. And our thanks to Rainbow Dodge Jeep Ram 101 Rainbow Highway for being the major sponsors of Chasing Foul Balls. Well, guys, I let it out, so let's go to it. Your favorite football movie, top 2 or 3?
Well, Robbie, as I told you before we started the show, when you let this out, I immediately picked up a pencil and I could list 12 right off the rip, just without thinking about it. That'd have to be in consideration. So I'm going to, instead of giving you my top 1, I'm going to give you my top 2. I'm going to cheat.
Give me top 3. I'm going to give you 3.
All right, top 3. I'm going to go 1A and 1B are going to be Varsity Blues and Friday Night Lights, classic. And for number 3 for me is The Replacements.
That was pretty much one that you see all the time, but you don't hear much talk about.
Right.
Richard, you got 3 top football movies?
Well, yeah, Rob, it's real easy for me as when you put that out there. The minute I read it, I was like, I mean, mine too. I said, I'm an old schooler sitting here. If you're listening and you've never watched Brian's song, the story of Brian Piccolo with the Chicago Bears and Gale Sayers and that crew, that is, I'd still, if I watched it today, I'd have a tear in my eye before it was over with. It's one of the best. And then, of course, the original Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds and that crew, and it's to me, it's one of the first comedy football movies I ever saw, and that they could make fun out of all that was going on in prison and the whole nine. It was just, it's great. Third would be a tie between Rudy and Remember the Titans. That's those Rudy's, that's just, that whole story is just fascinating. And I guess it's another story wrapped around football, or the other way around, but it's still considered, I guess, a football movie.
What about Blindside? Excuse me, what about Blindside?
Blindside is a great movie. To me, it's more of a story of the person rather than a football movie is how I look at The Blindside. Great movie. But to me, on the list, it knocks it down a few rungs because it's more about the person. And when we're talking about football movies.
Friday Night Lights is kind of an offshoot of Varsity Blues, right? Is they kind of the same basic region?
Yeah, it's high school football in Texas, so the and all the lore and glory that goes along with that.
Richard, when you watch Waterboy, do you see people you see at the football games on Friday and Saturday?
Oh, definitely, Robbie. We were talking before we went on air today about all our travels around the south part of the state, some of us to the north part of the state, doing football games. And as you watch the movie, you can say, "Yeah, that guy was at so and so. I've seen that guy. I see that guy every Friday night." It's high school football in small town USA. Where they shut the lights off. What the old saying is, if they ever wanted to rob the bank in Centerville, they could do it on Friday night because everybody's at the football game.
Well, and Mama said them alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush. So,
before we get out of here, we got to make sure we talk about the fact that the Superdome turned 50 this year. Do you remember the first event you went to see at the Superdome with?
Oh, I don't know if I remember the first. I'm sure it was a Saints game. But that is a iconic building, not just in the South, in the country. It has hosted numerous large events, fights, Final Fours, you name it. It's been in there.
What about you, Richard?
Yeah, I don't know if it was the first one I remember, but I remember George Rogers was our running back. And this is the first one I said, if you remember. I might have been there before, but I don't think so. But me and a buddy of mine got some pretty good seats, and we got to sit in there with the upper folks, where they eat
with the big dog,
ball game.
With the big dog, yeah.
We started hollering and screaming when he was running for a touchdown, and all of a sudden we realized we were the only two in there that were hollering and screaming. And we said, we might need to go back and sit in our regular seats because this is not the crowd that they were like we were disturbing. But I've seen concerts in there, rock and roll days. I've seen monster truck shows. And the way it's changed over the years. Last time I was in it, I didn't realize it. My gosh, now you got to walk up tons of stairs just to get to your seat. But a fabulous place. And
have y'all been in there since all the renovations were complete?
Not this time.
I haven't been in there, but I've
It
seen
is
the
gorgeous.
pictures and all.
It is really nice.
How'd you see the tickets? You like them?
Oh, yeah, I like our location. Now, what we're going to see out of it, I don't know if I'm going to like that too much, but...
The hope-o-meter is not really going way over, huh?
Let's be honest.
We all been Saints fans since they started.
We've all been there. We know how it is.
We're past the misery part.
We're not wearing bags,
Do you
but
think most
you know.
people down there go if it's bad? I think they go anyway.
Oh yeah,
It's the party.
no doubt.
It's the party.
The football is just a side effect of the party down there. I mean, a lot of folks don't even pay attention to the game.
When it's really good, it gets really crazier.
Oh yes.
Did you see also where the NCAA has announced that the basketball tournament this year will not be expanding in numbers? You surprised?
I am a little surprised. More numbers means more games. That's more advertising.
More games mean what?
More money.
Thank you, sir.
Got to have that money.
What do you say?
What you shaking your head for, Richard? You know it's true.
That part of it's true. That doesn't make for better basketball. I mean, you know, name the Cinderellas in the last 7-8 years. Okay, so it happens every once in a while. But if you add 10 or 12 more teams, does that mean the fourth team in the MAC, conference is going to have a run to the Final Four? I don't think so. Especially not in the world we live in today in sports with NIL and all that stuff. There might be some college teams with a bigger payroll than some NBA teams, and that's just my thing. Is I think it's really good where it's at for the excitement, but it will eventually be expanded because of what y'all said. But I like it where it's at.
Richard, I sent you an email earlier during the week. We're always looking for a new place to go. Did you get the email I sent you about pillow fighting? Don't laugh, guys. It's on ESPN. It wasn't just pillow fighting. It's pillow fighting on ESPN.
Which channel? The 8, the Ocho?
No, I think it was one of the main ones.
Well, 2 weeks ago it was slapping. It was
but did you see those pillows they had?
I saw that. And look,
Lord have mercy,
man,
it could do some damage with them pillows.
We had some of the best pillow fights in the world, and the best thing is when them old feathered pillows would come apart until your mama found out, and you had to sit there and pick all the feathers up with a sore rear end.
Well, in professional pillow fighting, how do you determine who wins and who loses? Robbie, did you watch it?
No, it was. I just saw that. I assume the guy standing wins.
So you go for a knockout.
If you get knocked out with the
or
pillows,
till somebody hollers uncle.
Yes, then you got a winner, that's for sure. One other thing, Richard, I think you can back this up for me. John Pitts, one of my buddies up in Corinth, Mississippi, sent this out, said that he's an old-fashioned deer hunter. He don't bait fields. He has no deer stand. He just runs over them with his sedan. That's my way of hunting because I have killed many of them.
I know that. I've been with you a couple times.
That's why I said you have the first hand on that one.
Yes, I agree with him. I try not to do that, but I do, and I have, and we have. But the problem is sometimes you don't get to enjoy it after you do that. You're more worried about fixing your car.
The best caliber for a deer hunting has headlights and a horn on it.
That's it. And I have had that insurance company said, not another one, many times so far. Real quick, Park Lane Lady Pioneers will have their ring ceremony for their MAIS Girls Overall Basketball Championship. That'll be Thursday, August 14th. It'll be 10 o'clock. It'll be at the Park Lane Gym. And the Macomb Pro-Am Classic out at Quail Hollow will be on the August 13th through the 16th as it comes back in town. Well, guys, that'll do it for this week. Chasing Foul Balls right here on SuperTalk Pike County.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.